You know him, you love him. It's Todd McFarlane, and it's time to open my Signature Series submission. Hey there, today I have an unboxing video, and in this video I'm going to open up my CGC Signature Series program submission where I submitted 5 books to be signed by the great Todd McFarlane. Now this is my very first CGC Signature Series program that I participated in. I recorded a video about making window bags for the first time and the process involved with that, and I tried to study how wide the opening should be and how to make my own bags. And then I watched a lot of the sort of unboxings or signatures, or even McFarlane himself created videos in collaboration with CGC. And a lot of folks use the CGC, window bags for their submissions. It's that yellow bag with the giant opening. And even Todd himself had commented as far as like the placement of the signature and just how to choose the most appropriate spot as far as getting the signature to really stand out and pop. And of course, I was rethinking all of my signature placement after watching Todd himself talk about best practices for window bags and signature placement on his books. But I feel pretty strong and confident in terms of my placement choices. I think that one of the regrets I have, and it'll be interesting to see as I unbox this, is the size of the signature. What Todd talked about was if you create a large enough opening and give the artist some say in the matter, what will happen is the creator will find the most appropriate place, but also potentially make the signature large enough so that it's very visible. And I remember Todd talking about if you really shrink the opening in the window bag, he has to sign it very small and it's awkward. He prefers to kind of just use the space to have his signature appear in a more artistic fashion with an appropriate placement. Now, I've seen some folks argue that and say, well, it's really up to the owner of the book and you're paying for the service to kind of decide. But I like giving the creator that artistic freedom, as Todd was talking about, to kind of put that signature down in a place that they find most appropriate. Now, I am nervously rambling because this is really awesome. It's my first signature submission. It was for one of my favorite all-time artists, arguably one of the most recognizable modern artists, if not the most recognizable modern artist of our time. And again, I'm thinking about regrets just in case any of this doesn't turn out the way that I had hoped. I have not seen the grades. I don't know what these results are. So what I ended up doing is I chose 5 books that I felt like they were great. They were very much iconic in terms of the ties to Todd McFarlane, but I didn't want to go super crazy and send Amazing Spider-Man 300 to him. I just didn't have the guts to do it. So with this being my first Signature Series submission, and I know I probably should have sent a submission to somebody else and tried window bags and just kind of understood the process a little bit better. So I'm really hoping it all just sort of turned out, but I do feel like I made not necessarily some mistakes, but there were things that I would have done differently, and I'm very curious to see if that really impacted the final outcome of the submission. I talked about the window bags. I talked about giving the artist more freedom to place the signature. I did run these books through CCS, which I said I was done with, but in this case, because it's the Signature Series program, it gets expedited with CCS. And I know one book in particular had a little bit of creasing down the back center of the book. So I'm really hoping that that book didn't end up as a 9 or a 9.2 or 9.4 or something because of that specific crease. So I'll have to take a look at that book in particular to make sure that CCS did a nice job on it. But I want to get to this unboxing. I want to look at these 5 books. I'm so excited to get the yellow labels on these. So let's get this thing opened up. Okay, here they are, 5 books. As I mentioned, I do not know the grades. I did not look ahead of time, so you will see the book first before I get to see it. So I'm really looking for, obviously, the highest grade possible, but also really looking at the signature placement and just how much that signature really pops on the book with the yellow label. So here we go. Okay, the first book is Spawn number 8. And I can't see the signature yet. You can see it, so I hope it looks gorgeous. But Spawn number 8 from 1993. And I definitely have a theme going where I've got the Spider-Man 1 homage series of books where I'm collecting these and I'm trying to find my favorite Spider-Man 1 homages, not necessarily collecting all of them. And you gotta love Todd. He goes over to Image, starts his own series, and in the 8th issue, homages himself with Spawn. And here we go. This is Spawn number 8. 9.8. Yes! Gorgeous. Okay, so yeah, I put the placement down here. And again, full disclosure as far as like the dumb stuff that I do. Now you're thinking like, wait, this is a very expensive. I don't know if it was the most expensive signature series submission. I know they have remarks and other, artist design sketches and all of these other different programs, but just straight signature probably was one of the most expensive signatures to acquire on a book. And then to not actually, I would say, complete the process thoroughly. And yes, I'm thinking about you, Sean Hanna, in our conversation. I felt bad. I felt bad because I don't think I was really thorough enough, and I took a chance. And when you're spending this much money, it's a gamble. And at least one of the 5 paid off. One of the things that I completely forgot about and missed was the actual signature color. I didn't specify, and I know if you're watching this and you do signature series submissions, you're ready to turn this off or throw something at me. But when I created the window bag down here at the bottom, I didn't say sign here, please use a specific color. I didn't say thank you, Todd. But I got the TM Forlone signature because it's quite random if you're going to get the full Todd or just the T. But this is awesome. I love it. Absolutely gorgeous. Beautiful case. No scratches. Nothing. Absolutely fantastic. Like I said, I ran this through CCS, so great job. Just sort of finalizing the book. All right, 1 for 1 on this. Okay, the next one we have is Spider-Man 13. So you can kind of see the theme of the books that I sent in here. Same Spider-Man 1 homage story, but instead of going off to Image and homaging himself, he homaged himself at Marvel within the same series. So 12 issues later in 1991, he redraws that famous pose from Spider-Man number 1 on Spider-Man 13, but this time in the black costume. And again, you're seeing the signature. I think this one is right in the crotch. I'm pretty sure. I felt like there was so much going on in this cover, and the research that I did, it was like, this really is, I don't want to say the most appropriate spot, but it is the spot that he typically signs in. And again, remember, I didn't specify the color, so I'm hoping everything matches and he didn't sign it in purple or something like that. So here we go. This is Spider-Man 13. 9.6. Okay, 9.6. And yep, he signed it right in the middle. Again, in that's it's like silver or white ink. And it looks gorgeous. Of course, I could say this about every book. I'm hoping for the 9.8, but I'll take this in a 9.6. Very cool. Can't wait to line this up with my Spider-Man 1 homage covers. Again, a little disappointed in the grade. Looking at it a little bit closely, the only thing I could see, there's a little bit of color rub down here and just some slight like chipping or softening of this bottom corner. Really tough here with this ad in the back being having the all black art on the back cover. That's really the only thing I could tell. It's just like a 1/2 inch of a color rub down here, which is probably what did it in and prevented it from getting to 9.8. But a gorgeous McFarlane signature on the great Spider-Man 13. All right, next up is Amazing Spider-Man 328. I've always loved this book. I've always loved this cover, where it's almost like there's just too much going on the cover of this book, and we just can't even keep the title at the top of the book. within the frame. It was just two larger than life characters going at it. And it was a book that I've picked up at various times over the years. And one of the last copies I purchased, when I got it, I looked at it, and to me, on its own, by itself, I gave it a 9.8. Now, I did request that all of these books go through CCS, but I don't think this one needed it. To me, it was a 9.8 on its own. And I hope the signature looks great where it is. And now let's check out the grade. This is ASM 328 from 1990. And it got the 9.8. Awesome. Awesome. Now again, I didn't specify the color of the signature. I don't know if it was difficult to see, but it's actually down here in the hand. And he ended up signing it in kind of a navy blue to match Spider-Man's costume. So that was Todd's choice. That's cool. And I had asked to sign it over Hulk's hand. Again, just because it's just total chaos on this cover. So hopefully you can see that right in there. Very, very cool signature. I'm so relieved. I was worried I started off with the bang with the 9.8, and then it was gonna be downhill from there, but recovered here with a 9.8. Todd McFarlane cover art and interior art on a David Michelini story. One of my all-time favorite McFarlane covers. So there it is. Amazing Spider-Man 328. Okay, now I believe these last two books are the same. And speaking of the Spider-Man 1 homage, let's just go right to the original. Here's Spider-Man number 1. Again, I had specified signing right in Spider-Man's crotch because that had the best, I don't know, like chance for visibility, I guess, with the signature. And as I was saying earlier, one of these two had a pretty bad crease down the back, and it was from the poly bag. I'd opened the poly bag on any of these that I picked up. I picked up 3 or 4 copies. And a lot of times these books in the poly bag have just a slight curl to the middle of the book where it's just curled itself into a light crease. Ultimate Fallout 4 is notorious for this, and Spider-Man 1 is no different. So one of these two had the crease, hopefully was pressed appropriately by CCS. The other one, to me, I believe, just like ASM 328, was already a 9.8. So here we go. This is Spider-Man number 1 from 1990. 9.6. All right, a little disappointing in this one because it's not that Spider-Man 13 is rare or hard to find, but this one, there's so many of these. So to get the 9.6 stings a little bit, but I love the signature in, again, it's like almost like a white ink, or silverish white. So it really does pop, and that's awesome. And it looks like he took the liberty of giving everything a full signature. But I think what I notice is, I know sometimes I would say his signature gets a little drippy, where the T and the M and the F start to really kind of, and you can see like I probably, if I go back and look at the video where I created the window bag, I probably didn't give him much room, and so he's probably trying to get in there. So his signature on this one is much more compact. So I can't tell if this was the one that had the crease down the back. It looks great. The only thing I can see is right at the top, there's just a little bit of a corner splitting up there, but that's really the only thing I can tell at first glance, at a quick glance, I should say. But again, awesome book, 9.6, I'll take it. All right, and then this is the last one. It's the same book. It is Spider-Man number 1. Hopefully you could see the signature again. I believe I created the window bag in the same way, just that nice little window right across the middle of the book. So let's see if this one got it. Again, I'm just kind of tilting the back. I don't necessarily see the crease, so here we go. Spider-Man number 1, my second copy. 9.8, all right, got one. Awesome. Very, very cool. Yep, so I think both of them had the crease removed, but I think that one soft corner on the 9.6 is what did me in. But look at this. How cool is that? Got the 9.8. Oh, I love it. So 3 9.8s and 2 9.6s. Very, very happy. Very, very pleased. They're finally back and absolutely stunning and gorgeous. I think that those of us that submitted books to CGC for the McFarlane signing really overwhelmed Uncle Todd, because I think it was something like 32,000 comics were submitted for signing. So I just want to say, Mr. McFarlane, thank you so much for taking the time to sign these books. It is very much appreciated, but also thank you for signing everyone's books, and thank you for being patient and having fun with it. I love those videos that were produced by Todd and CGC. It was a lot of fun. There was a video of him where he was spending the night in the CGC offices, and they were putting him to work and making him sign overtime and things like that. So I think he's going back to wrap up the books. But just on behalf of everyone that submitted, thank you, CGC. Thank you, CCS. Thank you, Todd McFarlane. And thank you for watching. Happy collecting, and see you next time.